Welcome, everyone. Facebook takes forever to start these days with the new regulations, and I need to move my camera, which I forgot about. I'm sorry. But welcome to Worthy Discussion with Shikha, Khanna and Michelle DeKeyser. I'm Michelle DeKeyser from Connecting Mamas, who is all about bringing all moms together into the one-stop shop for all moms to live in their genius and for the kids to be inspired to find their genius. We need to do this together. And then I'd love for my co-host to introduce herself.
Hi everyone. I think we've been coming every week, but yeah, I'm Shikha from India. I'm a photographer for 25 years, and since then done many things. I'm a curator of a book called 100 Self-Portrait, 100 Dreams of Mothers Who Dared to Express. And this is an online interview series I did for 100 days continuously, interviewing mothers across the world during lockdown. And from there, brought them to India and launched this book. Since then, I'm also teaching self-portrait as a modality that can, bring you back to yourself, to back to your home, who you are, in a fun way, and at the same time learn creativity and many other things, including bringing moms to stages that Michelle also does. So both of us are making our efforts to give the stage to the mother who deserves it, and sometimes it's very difficult for her to do it all by herself. So that's a little short introduction, and yeah, here we are in a very emotional chapter for both of us. So it's interesting what conversation comes up.
Yeah, we're both just about bringing moms together and let's figuring out how we can get that and do motherhood together, because it's no fun doing it alone. But when we're in that need and we need that safe space, we want to help provide that for you, which leads us directly into this chapter 10, the lie. If I stand out, I get kicked out. That has, I think that title right there is just so pivotal. And this quote right here, as young girls, we learn that if we are too independent or shine too brightly, we risk losing love and belonging. I mean, that one sentence really takes us to the root of so much of our feeling of unworthiness. So, because if we shine brightly or live in our genius or start to show those things, all of a sudden we're like, well, people around us are not going to want us anymore. They're going to reject us. And that fear we live in. And so now we downplay who we are. And I know I did that for so long, and I think that also is from the last chapter we just talked about, chapter 9, with the people pleasing. I think those go hand in hand for me, at least, because I was doing that so much. But what I've started to realize is as I start to live in my own genius and doing these festivals and doing these things, I start to find the right people that I want to belong with, that I feel that longing and that belonging in such a more supportive way than I ever could have when I was trying so hard to not shine or let others shine instead.
Right. And you know, it happens many times when we're very young. It's like nobody's really purposely doing that to us to say make your light go dim. It's just some experiences are interpreted that way as a kid, and then those interpretations just like become like the permanent thing in our life, and then we start assuming many times that if we go ahead, we're not going to be accepted, we're not going to be loved, we're not going to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we stay back? I'm definitely from that category. I still, in spite of being in a lot of spotlight, if you ask me, I still want to like not go, but I just keep going because I've realized my gift. And you know, with children, it always happens. Sometimes a particular child, is getting a lot of attention, a lot of love, and the others just don't like it, and then that child thinks there's something wrong and they want to belong back to the children's world, and they're downplaying their gifts, and they're purposely self-sabotaging things and doing things so that they're not liked so much, they're not put into attention. There are different kinds of kids. There are some kids who just want to go right into the spotlight, and they will do and kick and push and go and say, we're going to be right there, you like it, you don't like it. But I think mostly just so that they can belong, because belonging is such an important thing, and then that becomes a habit. And then the more you're praised, the more you're checking around, do I deserve it? Or do other people think I deserve it more than do I deserve it? It's like, do other people really think that I deserve this? Or are they going to just think that, why is she doing this? Like, why is she, or you're not qualified, or like some people are natural at something, they don't need qualifications. So that's That's what it is,
Well, I think that leads us right into the next section where it goes. She threw it all away because she feared that standing out for despite her years of hard work. Sorry, because standing out would be she'd be totally ostracized. Okay, wait, this is not even the quote I meant. So I apologize. We're going to strike that from the record. But women have learned to sacrifice being successful for being liked. And so when we go to that women versus men aspect, decades of study, including recent social science research, finds that if a man is successful, people like him more. And if a woman is successful, in general, people like her less. And so then that brings us now to that male versus female ambition versus that boss that you can't stand. And honestly, when I've talked to other women and stuff, like, I don't really want to work for a woman. I'd rather work for a man, because like just that feeling. And I think that that's our role, is to start releasing that aspect of, again, in this chapter and in this concept, in terms that I agree with that when women are trying to do it the masculine way. And I feel like the last 60 years since we've tried to be equals with men, again, this comes back to, we've had these conversations again about bringing that feminine back in. But I think that's what it comes down to, is that women do work better in community when we lift each other up, when we're not trying to take each other's light away, but rather let everyone shine their own light and propel that as one big light. That's what I'm trying to do, especially with the Mama Genius Hub. But I feel as women, when we do that, that's what's going to propel us forward. But the research and everything, we've been trying to do it the other way. We've been trying to be equals with men and do exactly how they do things. And I feel that's where the lack comes in, the unworthiness feeling of trying to do something we're not meant to do.
Yeah. And she also mentioned somewhere about men, women, that women are generally getting like a raise or a hike or something on their past experiences, and men get it in their potential, that their
Yes.
potential is there. And I just somewhere, I generally do not enter the conversation of men versus women and what women are doing on men. I just somehow, that never interested me in this conversation. But this particular thing, I was like, I want to just like dwell a little about what, like, in the world of the corporate. And I'm going to go to my husband who works for the corporate. I'm very curious to ask him that, like, when you're gauging it, is it true that you're looking, because a lot of things come for the potential of a woman, right? She might become she's expecting, she'll have some children problem. All these things are the things that are calculated for her future potential, right? Especially if she's newly married, and children will come in, and she'll not be able to perform. So all those are calculated, so they cannot take apparently those risks with women, and they see the past performance and give her the high. But with men, they'll just go all the way and say, oh, just watch him 20 years from now, and he'll be like right there. We can see the potential. So that was an interesting point. I thought, Michelle.
Well, I also saw, like, I don't know if it was in here, but another one is like, when you look at a job description, women will make sure that they can check off everything that's on that job description before they apply for it. Whereas men will be like, oh, I can do some of that, I'm still going to apply for it. And I think that comes hand in hand with that same type of relationship, is that we are always like, have to have that proven history before we're even willing to apply for that next job or that promotion, and vice versa. People are looking at you like, well, do you have the history to show that? And with a man, they're like, oh, well, he shows he's got the potential to do it, so let's give it to him. And the woman's already proven the history of it, and she still doesn't get it. And that's happened. And so, like, how do we shift that? And I think it's also us as women looking at that list and saying, yeah, I think I can learn all that. I might not know everything right now, but I'm still going to put my hat in the ring for that job.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree that for women standing in light, I mean, I have men in my life who don't like to stand up in the light in spite of their gifts. So, but the fact that the spotlight will just take it all away. The little bit of peace that you have, the spotlight might just take it away. The little bit of relationships that you're hanging on to, you're trying to make and everything, it'll just take it away. And I think it happens as a mother, as a wife, many times, once you've left it, you just want to just stay back, because unless you find a partner who's constantly showing a lot of pride in what you're doing, because the validity is coming from there, then women still think, okay, he doesn't have a problem in me shining, right? And that assurance somehow is still needed once, you're off the spotlight and you're trying to get back as a mother. And even if it's not needed, like technically in like, but a partner really helps if you can just like for a woman and say, I'm very proud of you, go 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 go. You need to hear that. And many women can relate to this. Everybody can keep saying, and sometimes we look back to our partners with whom we've just started our life and say, are you not going to say go 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 go? Like, is it okay if I go in the spotlight and takes it away? So that's another thing. A very common thing that especially mothers go through. And I just wanted, I generally don't read lines, I let you, but I love this one a lot, and I thought I'll read it. Uh, uh, we end up liked but not fulfilled, liked but longing, liked but in agony, liked but angry, liked but empty, liked but feeling unlovable, liked but hiding, liked but feeling unworthy. And
Love that.
just, yeah, just to be able to be liked and accepted, uh, we barter being not coming in the spotlight with our gifts. And yeah, so that's why it's a hard chapter to really work around with, to say that it's so true, that spotlight. And before like I hand over to you, when I was reading it, so India is a very tough country sometimes on the street as well, right? For women, it's still coming out. We're really there. I'm very proud of my country. I'm just the way we are progressing, the way women have come a long way. But sometimes, it does get tough when villages are, entering cities. And so I used to tell my assistant, do not wear, bright colors and walk when you do street photography, because you're going to get too much attention. So I was just trying to think when I was reading this chapter, that what was that all about, in order to protect her, I would just keep telling her, because, just being right in the middle of the men with camera itself is intimidating to so many people 25 years back. And then to send your assistants who were trusting you right there, and then, any mishap happening, I would just say, wear blacks, get just like merge, don't stand out. And I was younger, but that thought came back to me. I was like,
Well, actually, I was gonna say in 2008, I was in India and just walking around, like sitting. I forgot what temple we were at, but I was sitting there. All of a sudden, I'm swarmed by people who want to take a picture with me, and like it's just overwhelming. I know it's being a white person in there as well, but it was just like I could only imagine the same thing. Like what you're picturing, but like if you're standing out with the bright colors or things like that, that's like the culture to like really bring in and like spotlight. And like you felt like a celebrity, and it's like no one should even know who I am.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There are so many other reasons why would you like to do. Sometimes it's safety, in depending on the culture and the country you are in. But today I was very different today. But at that time, I think I was scared of going myself in this. So I would just wear black, and I would just not dress up. I would just like wear a bun. I would look the worst I can before I would take my camera, because my photography was so close to me and I wanted to really shoot, and that should not be taken away from me. So I will play very small in terms of at least showing up in the light so that nobody watches me, so I can do what I love to do. Because one mishap, I would be pulled out from this whole dream, and I would be told you don't get into these danger zones and stuff like that. I have many experiences being an Indian, talking about where all it can show up. But yeah, this is a very 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 interesting chapter of downplaying yourself, and sometimes we tell our children to do the same. Unknowingly we tell them to calm down, just relax, don't stand out.
I think like the next section goes from invisible to visible. So she asks, she gives a quote first from an unknown person: "Don't shrink when you are just to fit in the spaces too small for your destiny." But then she goes to ask us, when was the last time you got still and asked yourself, how do I feel? What do I really want? When was the last time you let someone else see the true, real you? When was the last time you truly saw yourself? When was the last time you spoke up, used your voice, and shared your opinion? Sometimes we don't even realize what's happening. We just know we don't feel alive, connected, or fulfilled. And I think that's what it comes down to, is when we have those feelings like we don't know where they're coming from and we feel disconnected, we feel that lack, we feel those things, it's usually because we're trying to connect on something that isn't true to us.
Right.
And we're trying to be like the people pleaser, or we're trying to be some liked by others. I mean, it comes down to it is that we're learning that if we're not doing the right things, we're not going to be liked, belonged, or loved. My question then for you all right now is, who do you want to be liked, loved, and belong to? Do you want to be someone who connects to who you are? Or do you, and sometimes the hard part about this is when you start to release some of this and figure out what you do like, what you want, and you start going for it, it is going to change relationships. And it might not like completely like disagree, like you might not have to break relationships off, but that's where boundaries come into place. Is all of a sudden, as you're changing, you don't want that change to stop as you're coming forward. But the people around you are like, oh, what's this that just happened? Something different's in front of me. And they get, their fear starts to come out. And then that's when you have to choose, is this a person I'm still vulnerable with? Is this a person I'm still sharing this stuff with? And you just make that choice. People will show you who they are. You decide to do what you want with your own boundaries. And you decide, do I need to cut this relationship off? Do I just need to make sure I don't see them as often as enough? Or I just need to make sure I share only this stuff with that person. Whatever that is for you. But as you're doing all that, you're going to find new people who do see you, who do see your light, who do want to rise you up. And those are the people now that you want to share. And they might be the people who are in front of you. They might not be. But that's the movement that becomes the hard part of opening this all up, of seeing your own worthiness and making those true connections. Is that some of the ones you've already made out of people pleasing, out of other things, may not be what you need. And that's the hard part.
Yeah, I totally agree to that. And doing self-portrait with so many people now and stepping into that, I also feel that the fear of stepping into the light is also sometimes exaggerated in our head, and it's not so bad many times. It's not that people are all there to get us, to go against us, to say why, like, sometimes it's just created by us. And that's why in my self-portrait, I always push people to go into the spotlight. I use the spotlight method myself. I call it the spotlight method because some idea will come, I'll go and announce it. It'll be an absolutely absurd sounding idea at that point in time, and I'll just go and announce it. I'm like, I have to make the design and I have to put it out in this thing, not knowing what, where, how I'm going to do it. Because the minute I put myself in spotlight, I know now I've announced it. Now all the fear of not being in spotlight has to be encountered, and I just have to go there because I've announced it. So I use that now, my fear of always not showing up, as a biggest sign to do it now. Like right now, announce. We will see what happens. Make the announcement. And you made such as human beings that you will just announce, and then you're like, oh, I think 5 people saw it. So at least those 5 should know what are my next steps. Then you start creating your next step, and you just keep pushing yourself without any outer motivation to do it. But it is true, through the method of self-portrait, I've realized I just tell people to post, and then no bad comments come. No nasty comments are there. In fact, people are very happy to see you after a point, and they're like, where have you been? How are you? And they're not even seeing the broken stuff that you think you have all over your face. And so spotlight is not a bad thing. Spotlight not necessarily means you're also seeking for attention, because like many times we have a limiting belief, oh, am I trying to seek too much attention? That's why I'm going into the spotlight. Spotlight is just showing up in your full light and just seeing what happens and then experiencing it.
I love that so much. And seeing what happens, because you have no say over how people are going to react to stuff. All you have control over is how you present yourself to the world. Right. And you can choose however that is. So you have control over that. You have no control of who's going to react, if no one's going to react. But I love how Mel Robbins puts it. None of that matters. The action you're taking by trying to put yourself forward with who you are, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's it. End of story. Yeah. But that's so hard at times. And then there may not be a reaction. There may be a great reaction, whatever that is. But that can't be the motivation. The only motivation can be the internal, like, I need to show my true genius, show who I really am. What is my worth? in this world and start presenting that way. I mean, it comes back down to that Facebook aspect of like, let me get the perfect family photo. You get everyone smiling, everyone looking like, we're a happy family. And then you see the behind the scenes with all the chaos, the hour that it took to get that one still picture, right? But that's life. The chaos is life. So when we show the mixture of that picture with that chaos to show what it takes to get there, then we start showing who we really are, and that we can relate to that because we're all going through that, because that is life.
Yeah.
But
And social media, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm good. Go.
I'm saying social media dilemma is also this, that we just think whatever we're going to put, we need to match it to a perfection of some other big influencer. And sometimes the algorithm is not even showing it to one person because we've not been active. We just create such big things out of posting, showing up, and then one relative comment, oh my gosh, she wants attention, and like just taking it and dwelling on it, and slowly just moving away from that and focusing on the fact that you are here to create what you're here to create, and you're here to experience what you're here to experience. And between that, just wasting time of not wanting to do anything by not showing up at all is just total waste of a life that was gifted to you to come and experience. So that's what I feel.
Well, I have one last quote from the book to read from Marianne that she quotes from Marianne Williamson. And it's funny because I was talking to a speaker yesterday, and then I'm like, I just felt compelled to read this to you. And she's like, I read that one every single morning. Wow. And I was just like, the irony, because I was just going through this chapter getting ready for our talk today.
It's a good one. It's a really good one.
Our deepest fear is that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. That's what it really is. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us. It is in everyone. And we let our light shine. We unconsciously give people permission to do the same. As we liberate from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. And I think that's what this really comes down to, is why we even want to have these conversations, Shikha and I, is that we want to not only liberate ourselves, because I know we find the deep work in having these conversations, but as we are having these conversations, you don't need our permission, but it's also giving you permission to do that. But honestly, you don't need our permission for any of this. You just need to say, this is who I am. This is what I want. Let me go for it. End of story.
Yeah. We're just coming in spotlight with a casual conversation, which we love doing. But we just thought that this conversation, rather than doing it ourselves, why don't we just bring it out? And if anybody gets anything out of it, great. Anybody wants to join us sometime, please tell us that you want to join us and hop in and maybe participate in one of the chapters. That would be great and cool to do.
We love that.
Right. And let's invite some people, maybe give them a chapter to read and just see and take this conversation a little deeper. But it belongs to everybody, this conversation. And these are our experiences. And it's amazing that I'm in India and Michelle is in the US. And then just together, still we can relate to being from different cultures, because this is such an underlining thing going through and through across the world. And that's why it's very interesting to talk to, because everybody can relate to what we're saying.
Okay, I might have lied. I have one last sentence to read, because she says maybe at the end, maybe today is the day you decide, one thought, one step, one word, one action at a time, to liberate yourself from your own fears of seeing, acknowledging, and embracing just how powerful and beautiful and worthy you are to stand out as you truly are. Coming directly from Jamie, I mean, that's so powerful, and saying like, all we need to do is just take that first step and see what happens to get that story out of our head. Because most time it's just that story in our head telling us no one's going to like it, or no one's going to do this, or there's going to be this huge reaction. And it's more just about expressing who you are. And as you're expressing it, figuring out who you are, because we've lost that somewhere along the way. We've been told no so many different ways that we're not sure what we even want or do anymore. One step at a time, to release those fears, to say, I want this. I desire this. I deserve this as I am worthy.
Yeah, yeah. And the thought that comes to me for ending is that the sponge that we've become of all the no's and all the rejections and all the thing, and then holding on to it, it just needs a squeeze and it's out. It's not a very difficult thing. Yeah, just squeeze it out of your life. It was never meant to retain and stay there for that long. It was just a passing emotion, comment, experience, and it must pass too. Just don't hold on to it and just squeeze it out and let it go. And then let the new things get absorbed. I mean, there's so much to, even so much negative to absorb. Just a different one. Why to just hold on to the same one? Just absorb, release, and just live this life like that, and probably it'd be a full life.
And on that note, Shikha and I are both promoting 2 different festivals, almost happening the same time, but we're jointly promoting them together to come find a community that helps you figure out what you do want. And that's what this is all for me. It's about what is my genius and how do I inspire my kids and do that. And so to join the Mama Genius Festival, you just go to www.mamageniushub.com/festival 2024 and just put in your email address and you'll get access to join the Facebook group and everything. And it's all free, but it's all about finding that community that works for you. So if any of this is speaking to you, come join that community and see what it's like for you. Again, it's just taking a step. If it's not for you, no worries. There's no consequences. You can always remove yourself. No biggie. But the question is, what if it is right for you and you didn't take the opportunity?
And not everything is right, so you need to find it. And there are a lot of people already in your community, Michelle. So if you actually pay attention and try to find people, you will find the people who will come forward, collaborate, become friends, become many other things with you if you just allowed it. Like if you just went in with an open mind that here are these group of people who have a similar kind of a thing going on. Let me just talk to a few of them. So connect and do that. Anyway, I have to go back to my mother duty because my younger one is not well. But it was
We'll
lovely
see you
talking to
next
you.
week. Bye,
Yes.
everyone.